Welcome to another OU Insider Under the Visor YouTube Live brought to you by. Go ahead.
Did you get it? Do we hear the crack?
We heard it. Olipop.
Crack was
Olipop.
audible. Olipop, people. Listen,
I'm
it's an
drinking the orange.
Olipop kind of a night here. We're very proud to partner with Olipop as the title sponsor of OU Insider Live, as well as the Under the Visor podcast. Listen, folks, traditional soda alternatives, if you're trying to get off a soda, and I tried to get off a soda years ago, traditional soda alternatives are either terrible or not any good for you. Fortunately, Olipop is neither of those things. It is both delicious and very good for you. 9 grams of fiber in each can, never more than 5 grams of natural sugar. It comes in 14 flavors, so whatever you're craving. I'm rolling with the root beer tonight. Olipop's got a flavor for you. Right now, you can use promo code CHAMPU20 to get 20% off an online order, or if it suits your fancy, you can head to my Twitter page right now, at Parker Thune. I tweeted out a link earlier this evening, or rather quote tweeted a previous tweet of a link that will get you $15 off. So 20% off if you want, or $15 off if you want. Whatever gets you a better deal on your Olipop order. You can always head to Walmart, Target, Sprouts, Whole Foods, any supermarket near you, and you're likely to find Olipop on shelves. But with that, Brandon, I mean, we got news on news to talk about over the next hour here on OU Insider Live.
So I guess let's start with David Stone. Oh, and by the way, the cardigan. So many people have commented that I haven't done it after worn it because it's been 1,000 degrees. It was 1,000 degrees today. But just so the comments could, in those that like when I wear the cardigan, because it did become quite the ritual during the cold weather time. We're bringing it back. We're going back to the day of the cardigan. Luckily, my house is probably about 68 degrees, so it isn't overly hot. It's just kind of itchy because the dang thing hasn't been worn in forever. I'm not used to it. Yeah, let's start with David Stone. He just tweeted out mere 40 minutes ago that he has an announcement tomorrow. What could that announcement be? If you've been on OU Insider, we've hinted at some things that we think it could be for the past week before that announcement was even made by David Stone. One of the things I want to add to what we've talked about on OU Insider is that I also feel like this could possibly be a top 5 in addition to what we've talked about, a potential commitment date, all that type of stuff. There's some things that David Stone has been sifting through. And look, I know there's the Bama talk and the Texas A&M talk, and I'm not going to sit there and say that those visits aren't going to happen. But I'm going to say this. If those visits do happen, number one, the commitment would be pushed back even further than what he wanted. He wants it done before the season, or at least in or around the start of the season. He's said that for almost a year now. And he has yet to deter away from that until today, according to whatever was tweeted out by Chad Simmons and On3. On top of that, it just doesn't line up with anything else. You know what I mean, Parker? It doesn't line up with anything else that's been going on behind the scenes. He says that he's got, like, I guess, people in his ear. You know, Jaden Jackson's recruiting him. I thought it was the other way around this whole time. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, he showed up on Jaden Jackson's official visit and hung out with him for a few days, or for a whole 24 hours, and did all those type of things. So it's just, there's a lot of things that aren't adding up. Now, I'm going to say this. David, literally, and not because my name, and I use drum beat on OU Insider and all that, he literally goes by the beat of his own drum. He really does. That's his personality. That's who he is. So anything that's shocking really isn't that shocking with him, because you can almost expect the unexpected with him most times. That said, I talked to some people at A&M not 72 hours ago, and they're like, we don't think we have a chance with him. And then that comes out. We haven't heard about Alabama at all for months. And then that comes out. Things just, I don't know if there's some suspense trying to be drawn up here. It's working because OU fans in general live by every word that those 5 stars say. And I'm going to say this, Parker. For a blue blood, OU's a blue blood, right? They get in a tizzy more than any other blue blood over recruiting roller coasters. Do they not? Like they do.
They do.
They're very emotional about it. You guys are blue bloods, man. You're a blue blood fan base. Blue blood. Like, and if you're going to the SEC, you have to deal with these type of recruitments. This is going to be the norm from here on out. Things are not going to be easy. We've seen some wild stuff happen just from afar watching SEC recruitments, haven't we, Parker? Like crazy, crazy stuff. What was it last year? The kid thought everybody thought he was going to LSU. He goes to Alabama. Who was that?
Jordan Renan.
No,
Wait,
no,
what now?
no, no. LSU.
LSU goes to Alabama.
Yeah, he was from Louisiana. Maybe been 2 years ago.
From Louisiana, went to
Yeah.
Bama. You thinking JoJo Earl?
No, he's from
No.
Alito.
JoJo Earl was an Alito guy from Louisiana. Went to Bama instead of LSU. Gosh, I don't remember. I don't know.
I'm not thinking the safety either that plays for the Giants now, and I'm not Clinton Diggs, Clinton Diggs or anything. I'm not doing any of that. No, this is different. Somebody will probably have it in the chat, but there was a player that everybody thought from Louisiana. Oh, he's going to LSU, and he'd been committed to LSU at one point, backed out or something like that. Then all of a sudden they thought, oh, he's going back to LSU. Bam, he goes to Bama. I can't remember who he was, but yeah, it was. Everybody says it's the cornerback. Anyways, that's just part of SEC recruiting. I mean, twists, turns, roller coasters. That's what this is going to be about. If you want to recruit the elite of the elite, and that's what Oklahoma's doing right now, they're recruiting the elite of the elite. You can't get too high, you can't get too low on these things. And yeah, it was disappointing Williams Nwaneri didn't show up today. Dude, Parker, just one word to me, yikes. And I said, what? He goes, he didn't show up.
Because we knew what that meant, right?
Yes, we know. Oh, 400
know.
400 posts into that already. What is there? 14,000 views on that already.
Oh my gosh, man. It's been a
It's
day
insane.
as far as that's concerned. I mean, listen, let's not bury the lead there. Oklahoma just got a commitment not more than 45 minutes ago from one of Williams Nwaneri's teammates, at least Summit North, 2025 interior defensive lineman Kamari Moore, who took one visit and that was it. And this is something that we hinted at. In fact, I was up there at least Summit North last week, and I reported at that time, hey, look, I expect Kamari Moore to be committed to OU very soon. It took 8 days. 8 days for him to lock in with Todd Bates in Oklahoma. So we talked about the potential of the Lee Summit North pipeline. Caden Green is domino number 1. Kamari Moore, somewhat surprisingly enough, is actually domino number 2. I don't think the process is going to last much longer for Isaiah Mosey. And then, of course, the one that everybody is focused on right now, whether or not Oklahoma can close this thing out down the stretch, you get to Williams Nwaneri, the number 1 defensive end, consensus number 1 defensive end in the entire country. And everybody's on pins and needles with this one. And so I had to be the one to report earlier today that Kamari made it to Norman, Ike Mosey made it to Norman, and Williams Nwaneri did not. Now, there's not going to be an acceptable explanation for something like that, right? Unless it's the death of a family member or something legitimately severe. Like you can't really give an explanation within reason to people and expect them all to buy it and believe it. And such was the case with this whole ordeal. And the explanation for Williams Nwaneri's absence from campus today, alongside his two teammates, was not one that a whole lot of fans wanted to accept and wanted to take. So this was going to be visit number 7 for him to Oklahoma. It doesn't happen. And he's scheduled to go to Oregon later this week. So do with that what you will. I will say this, Brandon.
Well, you left. Hold on. You left the deal with that what you will. You after Zadavian Sims, you shouldn't probably leave that out there. After what we just discussed about the reactions that the Sooner fan base tends to have on this, you probably should dive a little bit more. Okay, do you think, before you go on, do you think Oregon is a big player here?
No, I don't.
You hesitated. That's what also they're going to say right there.
Well,
why the hesitation, Parker?
Yeah, well, look, I think the mountain that Oregon has to climb is the same one that Georgia has to climb, and it is the distance factor, right? Like Williams Nwaneri, and we've talked about this really from the outset in his recruitment. It always felt as though he was going to play within a certain radius of home, and I don't think it's a coincidence, Brandon, that the two programs that everybody in the industry is kind of starting to come around to. And look, I think the Georgia buzz is going to die out here soon, officially. And I reported last week, it's not going to be Georgia. I don't believe it's going to be Georgia at this point. I have no reason to think it's going to be Georgia. Right now, it's an OU Missouri battle that's brewing, which makes sense because those are the two schools amongst his top list that are
location,
the ones closest to home and that can offer him when I don't want to say Oklahoma and Missouri necessarily offer him similar things in terms of development, but they're both pitching development and they've both done a good job of building relationships. So from where I stand, Brandon, knowing what I know, having talked to the people I've talked to about this whole process, I'm inclined to believe Missouri is going to be the biggest thorn in the Sooners' side going forward. I'm not that fazed by Oregon. I'm not that really concerned. And look, it's Oregon. They've swung some big-time recruitments over the last couple of years, and, we kind of understand why. But even so, man, I will say this much. I've talked to several people, and I know you have as well, and everybody's going to be worried about the threat of Oregon dropping a bag. OU has the strongest overall NIL pitch for Williams Nwaneri right now. And that is just another box that the Sooners can tick in their pursuit of this kid. There's a lot to like about OU's standing with Williams Nwaneri. We've covered it all ad nauseum, and from where I stand, Brandon, the fact that he didn't take this visit, the fact that he didn't make it to Norman today, does not change my feelings overall about the tenor of this recruitment.
I would agree. I think Kamari Moore jumping on board probably helps a lot. I mean, look, at the end of the day, this is kind of, let's talk about this. This was brought up multiple times on OU Insider message board, and particularly that thread. And it was, so what was the last player that OU got that didn't show up for their final visit to Oklahoma before announcing? I think we named like 5 on the phone earlier today.
It's happened.
It's happened. It's happened quite a bit lately, actually. We all know that Taylor Tatum took his official visit, but y'all tend to also forget that he didn't show up on a couple of other visits. And so the official visit is literally the only time he's been to Norman in the past year. That is not a lie. That is a fact. He's visited USC and others more than he's visited Oklahoma. Facts. Derek LeBlanc visited Florida right before he announced Oklahoma, literally like 10 days before or whatever. What was his date? Wasn't he like July 7th or something like that?
LeBlanc, I want to say it was
Yeah.
July 23rd.
Was it 23rd?
It was towards the latter half of the month. That I do recall.
Okay. But he didn't show up uh at the end. He didn't go to any of the party in the palace. He didn't do any of that. His last visit was to Florida before the dead period. And it was there a big deal was named. It's like, oh, it's really good for Florida, Miami, all that type of stuff. I know LeBlanc is gone now. That's not the point. The point is Oklahoma had a top 250 kid at the time that was visiting other places. And everybody that covered Oklahoma was really steadfast in the fact that LeBlanc was going to be a Sooner. Nationally, it was you got to watch out for Miami and you got to watch out for Florida because that's where his last two visits were. He didn't get back to Oklahoma. He'd visited Oklahoma 6 times in a year, but he visited Florida like 20 something times and he visited Miami like 15 times. Like, and I probably exaggerating a little bit. Actually, I don't think I'm exaggerating the Florida number, but probably the Miami number a little bit. He went back a lot. And Oklahoma wasn't one of his final visits, wasn't one of his final 2 visits. So it's happened. Caden Green, final visit was Missouri. The final visit was Missouri. And he did not make it to the visit that he was supposed to go to Oklahoma before that. And then he made his Missouri, and everybody freaked out. And Parker said, nothing to worry about. It's going to Oklahoma. Went to Oklahoma. Same school, by the way. They're really good friends. PJ Adobare. Another one. Where did he visit, Parker, before he committed?
It was Georgia.
What was
his last
Georgia.
visit before the commitment was Georgia.
And everybody was worried about Georgia. And everybody that covered Oklahoma said, stay steadfast. It's Oklahoma. You don't see anybody really that I've noticed on Twitter or anything flinching that covers Oklahoma at all on this Williams and Winery stuff. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen a week from now or whatever, but as of today, it does not feel like there's a whole lot to worry about there. But that doesn't mean we're not going to keep watching and doing all this. But what we're doing, we're trying to make a point. You're being a prisoner of the moment is something we can't afford to do because we've got to like dig and find and, do all that type of stuff. And the fanatic side, the prisoner of the moment, that's what being a fanatic is. And I get it. And Parker does too. Like, that's why we just let y'all vent, let y'all do y'all's thing. And it's funny to us. Sometimes y'all are pretty creative. Sometimes, not even gonna lie, pretty damn creative.
To the super chat we go. Mongo says, I'm still waiting for the sky to fall. Shout out to the Sooner father of Parker's choosing in celebration of his upcoming nuptials. I appreciate that, Mongo. I'm going to say the Sooner father of the day is my guy, Reggie Green. We're going to give Reggie Green the nod as the official Sooner father of this OU Insider Live episode. Case and Halsey says, Jesse C equals dog. Next 3 commits O/D 2024-25. So I assume he
wants 3 commits on offense on 24 and 25, both in defense. So 6 total commits, 3 in each class, offense and defense.
Okay.
So 3 on both sides in 24 and 25.
I will say their next 3 commits in 2024 are Michael Patterson McDonald.
Shout out to Larry McDonald. I know he's listening because he just texted.
There we go, Larry. What up, man? Michael, I will say they close out the Grant Bricks recruitment. I will say Grant Bricks is one of your next 3 in the 2024 class. And is there anybody with an imminent commitment date? He
wants 3 on each side.
Brendan Zerbrug.
Okay.
Brendan Zerbrug. I'll bet you.
Is that
Okay,
all
so
on offense?
okay. Okay, I see. It took me a couple minutes to process what exactly Kason was looking
Golly,
at
bro.
comment.
All
So
right.
next three commits on both offense and defense, but they can come from either 2024 or 2025. Okay. That's the direction we're going.
Yep. So
Your
6 total.
offense, your
Wait,
offensive commits.
12. Sorry.
Yes. Your next three offensive commits are Brendan Zerbrug,
Mm-hmm.
Grant Bricks, and it gets tough at that point. I'll say Isaiah Mosey. Is one of your next three on offense. Defense, I'm going to roll with Michael Patterson McDonald, Gus Cordova, and
Williams Winery.
you know what?
I
We're going to
don't think
swing for
anybody
the
else is going to
fences.
come up
Yep.
for him.
Will's the third. We'll say Will's the third.
Okay. Rename yours on offense.
Zerbrug,
Mm-hmm.
Grant Bricks,
Mm-hmm.
and Isaiah Mosey. And then defensively, it's Nwaneri, it's Michael Patterson McDonald, and it's Gus Cordova.
Okay. So I think he wanted 3 on each and in each class. So I'll try to do that, all 12.
That's 12 commits, man. Sheesh.
I know. I'll give her a try. So on
Okay.
2024, I'll go with Zerbrug, the Northwestern quarterback that will be at the Party in the Palace this weekend. Brendan Zerbrug. I'll go Grant Bricks. And you know what? I'm not gonna say Caden Durham because I don't feel like Oklahoma's like he's gonna be at LSU this weekend, which I think is a big win for LSU right now. I'm gonna go Pierre Lewis. I'm gonna
Really?
go Pierre Lewis. There's not very many options on offense right now, bro.
That is true.
There really isn't. There really.
Aya
Oh, well, no,
Sosa
no, no,
on
no,
the
no, no,
on
no,
the
no. I'm not doing
14th.
Pierre Lewis. I'm doing Josh Sosa because he's announcing middle of August. Yeah,
There you go.
yeah. Those are my 3. Josh Sosa. There you go. On offense, on defense. Who are your defensive guys?
Cordova, Nwaneri, and
Yeah, that was
Michael.
20. Okay. So I'll go Michael. I'll go Williams Winery. This is 24, by the way. Both that was offense, defense, 24. Williams Winery, and I'll go. I'm gonna say it. David Stone. Because I don't think he gets out of August. I think there's a game on ESPN2 that he might announce on. And that's my gut feeling. I have nothing to prove on that other than my gut feeling and little murmurs that I've heard. So, is that ballsy?
Yes, admittedly it is.
Okay. I'm doing it.
Sure everybody watching this stream right
I
now
just
would love
dropped
for you to
them.
be spot on.
I just dropped them. But I honestly think it's probably like a top 5 with potential announcement date tomorrow. That's my guess. I have no idea. 25, I'll go. Man, that's really hard, bro. Like to get like you weren't lying when you're like, yeah, bro, that's like 12 commits. I will go with I'm trying to find who was all at the party like our list because that's going to help me out here in 2025 offense. I'll go Isaiah Mosey because I think he's committed by October. If I was is that
Agree.
okay. I will go with You know what? I'm going to go with Lamont Rogers
Ooh, okay.
on offense. The idea right now is for him to announce shortly after his season is over, junior season. Doesn't really like the process, wants to get it over. And everybody you talk to says, or that I talk to says, Oklahoma is way out in front right now. They have set the bar, according to what I've been told, by people that are around him and those that help him get to said, they drive him to and fro these visits. So he was supposed to be at the Sooners under the Stars today. Sister's in the hospital, so prayers up for her and his family. And then I'm going to go the last one. I'm going to go with on offense. I'll say Jacaden Ferguson, wide receiver out of Missouri City, Fort Bend Marshall. I'll go there. Defensively, Cordova, Gus Cordova. And then I'll say Marcus James out of Carl Albert. 4-star linebacker out of Carl Albert. And then Alex Schildknight out of Wagner. Defensive end out of Wagner. So those would be my 3. That would be my 12 commits. There you go. Is there any more super chats we need to get to?
Yes, Captain 405 says, all hail the Cardigan. The Cardigan returns. R. Davis says, fun fact, Ole Miss had Nwaneri showing up this weekend. Hang tough, Parker. Appreciate you, R. Davis. Yeah. There are a lot of schools that are getting their chain yanked right now. I will say that much. Case and Halsey did follow up and said, I meant 3 offense and 3 defense in either of the 2024-25 classes, 6 total.
Oh,
okay, good. Well, we went above and beyond tonight.
There you go.
Because that's what we do. Powered by Ollie Pop, the soda that enables you to go above and beyond.
Trying. I'm trying to help the fan base. Wow, Jason Patton. This dude right here.
Has he dropped a C note 3 weeks in a row?
3 weeks in a row, bro. 3 weeks in a row, bro. Jason, we
Jason
might
Patton
need to. You know what?
We're
gonna give you a gift or something like that. You need to, if you're on OU Insider, PM one of us. We'll try to get you maybe some tickets to the home opener or something like that. You've well deserved it. Well deserved it.
So Jason Super Chat says, our fan base just has PTSD from the David Hicks recruitment. Where do you guys think this class ranks by the time it's said and done? And is there any smoke with Isaiah Campbell in 2025?
Okay. So, excuse me, what Isaiah Campbell, yes, Oklahoma is in a, like, from my understanding, Miguel Chavis and the head coach at Isaiah Campbell's school are very close. Because that's the area that Chavis is from originally. So, yes, they have a very good chance with him. Not going to say it's going to happen or anything like that, but I would bet visits take place in that Oklahoma at least gets an unofficial and an official visit out of Isaiah Campbell at some point in time. Isaiah has already told me he's trying to get to game. So that is something to watch for. I think Oklahoma, they just are. They have people in their corner there, which is not easy to do all the way in North Carolina. But with their connections in that region, you can expect Oklahoma is going to surprise some people here and there every few years. And 2025 could be one of those years. What was the other one that he said? Where do you see the class ranking?
Yeah, where do you
by
think
the
the 2024 class ranks?
5 or 6, 4, 5 or 6, something like that.
And I was exactly what I was going to say, between 4 and 6 right now.
Mm-hmm.
That is where I would peg it, between 4 and 6. Russell Jenkins threw in a super chat contribution and said, no question, just competitive. Take that, Jason. So there's
that
a
was
bidding
$200.
war. Oh, that was 200.
That even registered to you? You read that off so nonchalantly.
Wait, that was 200. I thought that was 20. I saw that. I thought that said $19.99. Goodness gracious. We really do have a
You're like,
bidding war on
oh,
our
here we go.
hands.
Yeah, no, no, $20. Yeah, well, there you go. Take that, Jason. $80 less. I'm over here like bug eyed. Like, what are you doing, dude? Give the man his flowers.
Thank you, Russell. Thank you very much. That stands as the largest single contribution we've ever had in the super chat.
No doubt. Goodness gracious, bro. Really, really
Yeesh.
appreciate it. Bro. So Travis Davidson said this has to Russell Davidson must be, or yeah, he said Russell's only fan must be in the top 0.01%. Bringing in that cheddar.
Oh man. TJ said, explain why David Stone is not an accurate source on David Stone's recruitment.
Okay, what now?
Explain why David Stone is not an accurate source on David Stone's recruitment. The simple answer is because David Stone likes the process and he's making the most of it.
Who said David Stone isn't an accurate source? When did that even be? When was that said?
That was in the super chat.
Somebody said David Stone isn't an accurate source in the super chat.
Yes.
Who said that? I guess I
TJ.
missed that part. No. I get that. Who? He's saying that to somebody.
I don't think so.
He,
I think that was just his assertion.
I think he thinks somebody said David Stone wasn't a accurate source for his own recruitment, which I don't think anybody said he wasn't. David likes to play games, though. He likes to mix it up. Like, look what him and Caden Durham are doing on Twitter right now. They're literally just rousing up fan bases. And they're having fun doing it. And that's their prerogative because guess what? They deserved it. They earned that right by what they've done. They're the two of the best at their positions in all of high school football. At that point, you can do what you want as long as you're not a dickhead about it. And I don't think they are at all. So okay. Have you talked to anybody about the Sooners and the Stars? I've gotten and posted some photos of Jonah Williams, Elijah Thomas sent me a couple of photos of themselves there and just kind of everybody was still there. This was literally an hour ago and everybody was still on campus or like an hour and a half ago. I guess they were in the dinner portion of the visit where everybody kind of mingles and hangs out before they leave and eat dinner before they head off. And it sounds like everything went really well. Like I think Oklahoma made some strides with some top tier guys that they needed to.
Well, they got at least one commitment. They got at least one public commitment by the end of the day. So
but I'm talking like Jonah Williams, Elijah Thomas, obviously Fasusi. He wasn't there today. He was there yesterday because he had other visits. So what he did is he worked Oklahoma in, and Kevin Sperry actually came down and hung out with him yesterday during that visit. So that was really big. And from what I heard, that Oklahoma hit it out of the ballpark. And that kid, with Jaden Hardy in his ear, with everybody else that in that DFW area that seems to be liking Oklahoma quite a bit, Fasusi kind of has that same mindset right now. And it seems like Oklahoma, much like Lamont Rogers, has really positioned themselves as like the front runner early on. The problem is that for them, they've got another year and a half before they sign. So this is kind of like what we were talking about with David Stone and Williams Winery last year at this time. Oklahoma is probably the leader for both those guys. Can you believe it? They're going to do this. Nigel Smith the same way. And here we are still talking about it. Big names take quite a bit to make a decision. It just takes longer. Just a different beast all the way around.
We got another super chat from Bobby McKay. Is David Stone trying to drive up his NIL value with all of his actions?
Appreciate that, Bobby. I hate accusing people of doing that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not. People can think that. And I think they have the right to think that, but I'm not going to accuse a kid of driving. I'll say this, though. They're not stupid. They're not stupid. They know how to build a brand. You're talking about a kid that almost committed to Oklahoma 3 times and was talked out of it. And now all of a sudden he is throwing his name around with any and every big name school. And I get it. You throw on Alabama and A&M, and maybe he's leaning, let's say David Stone's leaning towards Oklahoma. And I'm not, we all think that. Whether that's true or not, I guess, as TJ jokingly said, wouldn't David Stone would be the one that would know that, right? And he would be the ultimate source on that. But it would make sense to throw those two names around, even if they weren't in play, just to drive up your price a little bit more. Get an extra $50K out of the deal. Why not? And yeah, guess what? The second you start pandering and doing that type of stuff, it's going to continue to take place. And unfortunately, to land the big targets these days, you got to do it. You got to do it. But, Parker, if they don't produce, they're also the first ones to be shipped out because that money's going to go somewhere else. Like they now become, for all intents and purposes, they become employees. Is that not right?
No, it's true. That's true. They get 1099s.
There you go.
Okay.
What
Well, I
else?
guess let's swing back to the super chat here. Whoa. Another C note from Touch Mall.
Goodness gracious, guys.
People are happy. Like, this is not the way I expected this live stream to go, Brandon.
I know.
I thought we were going to jump on and everybody was going to be pissed that Nwaneri wasn't in town this weekend.
No. So Parker texts me, he's like 8:30 today, Drum. And I go, I guess I really don't want to. Did I not tell you that? Earlier that when we were texting, I said, I'm really not looking forward to it at all.
Yep.
Facts, right? Like,
but here we are.
Yeah.
Touch Ball is his question, though. Who will be the biggest recruit in the 2025 class that OU will go after?
Ooh, that's a really good one, Touch Mall. Appreciate the C note too, bro. Or ma'am. I don't know. Sorry, I didn't want to wrong pronoun either. I don't know. Oh, I know Touch Mall is. They just text me actually. Appreciate you. It is a dude. So Parker, who would it be? Who is the biggest name? At the end of the day, who will it be? Who do you think will be ranked the highest?
Michael Fasusi. I think Michael Fasusi is a 5-star.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Yeah. That would be.
I don't know. You know what? This may be crazy to say. I actually think Kevin Sperry has a chance to end up being that dude.
Well, and I'll tell you this much. Like, I think you and I both like where Oklahoma stands with Jonah Williams, too. That's a guy that's probably going to close the cycle as a 5-star.
That's very true.
I mean,
Jonah
we're talking.
Loves Oklahoma. Loves Oklahoma.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking unicorn with how big and athletic he is.
Yep.
Trey Brown. No, not that Trey Brown.
Are we sure?
In the super chat says Texas versus OU. Can you go down each position group and say who you think has the better group? You can be biased, but reasonably biased. LOL. I am a UT fan, but I like your show. Ollie Pop rules. Okay, let's run it down. I give Oklahoma the slight advantage at quarterback. I give Oklahoma the slight advantage at running back. I will say I think Texas has a better offensive line. They've got a better tight end room, and they've got better wide receivers. Defensively, I would say Oklahoma has a stronger secondary. Texas has the edge at linebacker, and I would give Oklahoma the edge on the defensive line. So I think that puts them on pretty even footing as I see it.
Okay, so are we talking today or how we feel that we think things will be looking come OU Texas that weekend?
A little bit of both.
Okay. I'm not going to agree with you on the quarterback at all. Texas
Wow.
quarterback
Okay.
Quinn Ewers, Dylan Gabriel. I mean, I'm going to go Texas. I know people might not like that. Um, and it's not that I don't think Dylan Gabriel isn't good. I just think talent wise, Quinn Ewers has a lot of talent. He's got really elite talent, but I've never been sold on him in the mental aspect of the game. That's been my biggest thing with Quinn Ewers. Running back, I'm going to go Oklahoma all day. The running back room that Oklahoma has is insanely talented and insanely deep. And by the way, on the quarterback, if it's Jackson Arnold versus Quinn Ewers, and Jackson has proven by that point that he is that guy, I'm with you. I
Okay.
also, and I'm not trying to disparage Dylan Gabriel. I want to say that because I think Dylan is a really fantastic quarterback. You're just talking about the number one overall guy that was ranked ahead of Caleb Williams coming out of high school. Caleb Williams. And was that wrong? Yeah, hell yeah, it was wrong. But still. Um, did somebody just drop $300?
That was Mongo. Yes, he did. Mongo decided to throw $300 our way.
Okay. Okay. I want to stop and thank you guys before I keep going. So I'm gonna get y'all super chat. Mongo, you freaking rock, dude. You always give us awesome donations. And TJ, you do too. Offensive line, Texas right now, but I think Oklahoma's offensive line has a chance to be really, really special by the end of the season. It's very talented. Geyer, Rames, Sexton, obviously, Walter Rouse, Savion Bird. Like they've got guys that can be really, really special players for them moving forward. Defensive line, I'm going to give it. Did you give it to Oklahoma
I
on the
did
D
give it to
line?
Oklahoma. Yeah.
I agree. Defensive line, because I think
A lot of depth there.
Dejon Terry, I think Rondell Bothroyd, obviously Trace Ford, PJ Adebawore, R. Mason Thomas, Ethan Downs. Trying to think who else is on the Grayson Halton. Who else is on the interior that I'm missing out here? They're just deep.
Devon
They're deep and
Sears.
they're talented. Linebacker. Who'd you give linebackers? Did you give it to Texas?
Gave it to Texas. Yeah. I mean, they've got the preseason All Big 12 defensive player of the year in Jalen Ford. So
Mm-hmm.
to me, that tips the
But
scales.
but yeah, I'm gonna go Texas though, or I'm gonna go Oklahoma because I don't think Stutz gets his due sometimes. He had a really good year last year as far as numbers go. He got tired, but they're going to play more guys. They're going to give him more rest. He should be better suited for crunch time this year, right? If his actions actually hold off what his words were saying during the Big 12 Media Day. Corner, I would give Texas. Safety, come OU Texas, I'll give Oklahoma because I think Billy Bowman, Deshaun McCullough, and Peyton Bowen will be your safeties. And that's freaking talented, dude. That's really good. So I think Oklahoma has I think it's split actually. It's going to be a really good game. I'm going to take Oklahoma this year because I think they rebound. They have depth at quarterback. And that's something people are not factoring in. Because Dylan plays last year, that's a totally different ballgame. All right, Mongo, we are to your $300 chat because it deserves its own time. I can't let a bidding war happen on my turf. I was actually thinking of shouting out Reggie Green this week. Excellent choice, Parker. And I think that's Sooner Dad of the Sooner. What do y'all call it?
That's what now?
The Sooner Dad or whatever y'all call it of the week, or what do you call it? Sooner
Yes,
Father
Sooner
of the week.
Father of the Week.
Sooner Father of the
In
week.
memory of Ricardo LeBlanc.
Ricardo still watches. He's still
I'm
a
sure he
big
does.
Oklahoma fan.
I'm sure he does.
All right, and then
Ricardo is a diehard.
yes, he is. TJ,
TJ threw
see,
in another 20
go ahead.
bucks and said the last one was just a joke, but here's a real one. Where do Gus Cordova and Kamari Moore end up in the defensive line class? Top 250, top 100, top 50. I think Gus Cordova is a top 250 player.
Mhm.
High motor dude, big, physical, nasty. Like really just like one of those guys that if you see steady progression from him his junior and senior years of high school, I think there's a world in which in which that guy creeps into top 100 territory. But I would say without question, he's going to be a top 250 player by the end of the recruiting cycle. With Kamari Moore, I think, look, he reminds me a lot of Edric Hill, which is convenient because they're both Kansas City guys, right? But they're both only about 6'1". And with Kamari, 6'1" might be generous, but he is an absolute rock. I mean, he was playing his sophomore season at about 320 pounds, and there was a lot of bad weight.
Mhm.
I was up at Lee's Summit North last week. That bad weight is gone, every ounce of it. He looks like a different human being. He's a chiseled, solid 290 pounds and immovable in the trenches. Actually, a very strong pass rusher for being a 0-1 tech type of guy. Like he can get after the quarterback and just a really mean player on the interior. And you saw a lot of those same traits in Edric Hill. I think Kamari's ceiling as a prospect is going to be limited because of the stature, but I do think that's a low to mid 4-star guy when it's all said and done.
I
Top
agree.
3, top 400.
If he has a really stellar year, which he could because he's on the same defensive line as Williams Winery, I think he could creep into that 250 because he kind of reminds me of Aaron Donald. And I'm not saying he's the greatest. Like, no, I'm talking about stature wise. Aaron Donald's not a tall guy. Isn't he like 6', 6'1"?
Yeah, Aaron Donald's 6'1".
Yeah. That stature, that's exactly what you're getting. A guy with really long arms and just a really compact frame that and that's what makes Kamari Moore so hard to block. It's because when he gets out and he reaches, he gets up underneath you, and he has really long arms. It makes it very difficult for centers and guards to block him because of his low center of gravity, and he has excellent feet. You add the fact that he's trimmed up, really toned down, really worked on his conditioning, endurance, and just overall strength and footwork. And you get a player that has a really high ceiling. But unfortunately, when you look at how we do rankings, and that is you're trying to project as far as the NFL draft. And so he's never going to be one of those guys that, as a 17, 18-year-old, is going to project as a first-round draft pick. Now, production-wise at Oklahoma, he could totally flip it on his script just like Aaron Donald did, right? And I would think Warren Sapp wasn't that big either, was he? Wasn't he kind of short in stature? I don't remember
6'2".
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
So, I
not
mean,
huge.
there's some parallels between all these guys. And if you can produce like those guys do, you have a chance to be pretty special, and people will take a chance on you in the NFL. You're already getting your performance in high school is already getting people taking a chance on you. And I think that's going to be seen in his rankings. He's going to be one of those guys. What he does on the field is going to be what creeps him up further and further in the rankings. And I think it'll end up being kind of right outside that 250, like 289, 300 mark, 4-star type guy.
Travis Davidson is trolling in the chat. He said,
Oh
Mari
God.
better worry about all of these running backs switching to defensive line to protect their future earnings. That was such a dumb tweet the other day. I
Do you
forget
know do you know who would be a good D lineman though?
who's that.
Xavier Robinson.
Yeah, I kind of figured that's where you were headed with that.
He would. He would be a fantastic defensive lineman with his acceleration, with his explosion, with his feet, with his size, and he has the frame to do it. But he does such a good job keeping the weight off. Like he's so dedicated. The dude meal preps all the time. It's quite crazy.
Okay, so
Um,
let's just take stock of where things stand right now in the Sooners under the Stars party at the Palace week for Oklahoma. And
Hmm.
some of the guys that are going to be coming back, some of the guys that Oklahoma is going to have a chance to make a decisive impression on. And I think the two guys that really jump out at you in that regard are a couple of Midwesterners in four-star athlete Michael Boganowski and four-star offensive tackle Graham Briggs.
yeah. No, I look, Boganowski is going to be visiting Kansas State, and Oklahoma gets the final visit. And why that's important here. What just happened? Did we just Oh my
What did
God.
just happen?
We got a $400 one. Russell, my gosh.
What in the world?
What is going on? All right. I'll go come at me, bro. Jason the ball is in your court. Everyone go like this podcast. Russell Jenkins, you rock. I think we need to make a soundbite instead of Leroy Jenkins. Russell Jenkins. Every time he donates or something like that. Wow, man,
This is
my voice
straight
cracked.
ridiculous,
Puberty.
man.
Wow. All right. So that just helped us get to IMG for media day. Joking. Sort of.
Hey, Brandon, you remember that day that the board was pissed that Williams Nwaneri didn't make his visit, but then we got on the live stream that night and cleared over $1,000 in random donations.
that we don't even ask for, which I love, which shows just the generosity of the OU fans, which makes that's why you guys rock.
Hey, by the
And we
way,
just got to 10,000 on the YouTube.
10,000 subscribers all on the same night. How about that? Again, not how I expected this evening to go, but here we are.
Yep.
I think we can thank Kamari Moore for this. I think he was
Yes.
the one that started all the good juju.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, he's gonna make us say it. Well played, soggy nuggets. Well played. Well played. And also, yes, we boys just hit 10,000 subscribers. Love the name.
But he said OU Insider needs an OnlyFans.
My brother just got on here and said my Venmo is coming. Feel free to send in.
Goodness gracious. We love you all.
Yes, very much so. But well, while we're on that, look, OU Insider is free until September 2nd if you sign up right now. You use the promo code of PATP23 and you can go in and you can get all the information that you want. A lot of the stuff we don't talk about on here, but there's a lot of extra information on OU Insider that isn't discussed here. We have chats. Parker and I have dropped 4 or 5 notes already today on recruiting and more. So much more has come this week with Party in the Palace, Sooners and the Stars, and the beginning of fall camp next week, which you'll get all the way through September 2nd. If you don't like us, you can cancel. No charge. Give us a try. Go to OU Insider, sign up. You get us for free all the way to September 2nd. All the way to September 2nd. It's a really good deal. It's a month and a half that you get, or a month and so many days or whatever, month and 10 days or so. You'll get of OU Insider. You'll give us a try. If you don't like it, you can cancel. No charge on your card. But the season starts off September 2nd. So at your own peril, cancel. No, I'm just kidding. We would love to have you guys. And we're blessed with those that have already signed up. We've had a whole bunch. And you look at this chat, you look at the guys that are signing up, the people, the men and women, OU fans signing up on OU Insider, and it's been a blessing. Thank you guys so very much. All right, $4.99, Matt D, DJ 2002. I'm a teacher. This is all I can do. Boomer Sooner, y'all. Dude, Matt, you're on our board. I know you. I recognize the name. Appreciate you being on here. Let's talk about, obviously, we were there talking Sooners and the Stars. Jonah Williams, we brought him up earlier. Jonah Williams, a guy that has been to Oklahoma now 3 times in the last 3 months. A guy that was going to IMG, and there's some talk that, oh, it was a bad move for Oklahoma, the fact that he came back and he stayed at Galveston Ball, but that's not the case. I remember the first time, Parker, you and I met Jono, he had OU gloves on at that
Zero offers
event
at that point, by the way.
and
Zero
zero
offers.
offers. So I took a photo of him. I made him put his arms out. Same thing I did with By Job. And literally after tweeting about him, and it's not me that did it, his frame, what he did at that event is what did it. But that kid blew up. And the fact that Oklahoma was one of his favorite schools growing up has played a big portion of it. And the fact that OU baseball is starting to recruit him very, very hard. Skip Johnson and the OU football program combining together once again on a big name target. That's a 2-sport guy. He pitches about 92, 93 mile an hour. Oklahoma went and saw him in the baseball program at an event, at a tournament here just recently, and they said he is a star in the making. So he's in Norman again today, loving it, has been building a really big bond with obviously safety coach Brandon Hall, who, by the way, has become quite the recruiter. I mean, look what he's done since he's arrived. Eric McCarty, Peyton Bowen, Jaden Hardy. Not a bad trio to start, right? And that's not to mention he held on to RSJ. He brought in Dave McCall. What are all the safeties last in the 2023? There was Bowen, McCarty, McCullough, and who was the fourth? There was 4 safeties.
Bowen, McCarty, McCullough, and dang, I don't remember.
Yeah, well, point being is that he's been awesome on the recruiting trail, and he's got Jaden Hardy this cycle. Trying to close in on Boganowski, who will be at the party in the Palace on Friday, as we were saying earlier. He's visiting Kansas State, then Oklahoma. Oklahoma gets a final visit, which I think is big here. This isn't like a Williamson Winery situation. This kid lives right down the road from Kansas State. And to me, the fact that he has not committed to Kansas State, which is the easiest thing for him to do, is just go ahead and stay home and go to Kansas State. And he hasn't done it. That has to bode well for Oklahoma. Don't you agree, Parker?
I do believe that. Now, it's hard. Like, it's really hard, man, because on the one hand, Oklahoma has every prestige advantage in the world over Kansas State, but those relationships are so deeply rooted. What did somebody one up?
No, just what Kamari Moore just said to a Missouri fan.
Oh, what did he say?
A lot of the Missouri fans said a lot of time to change your mind. The zoo is ready for you when you are MIZ. And Kamari goes, yeah, I'll pass.
That kid, he don't care. I mean, he wasn't wasting any time.
No doubt. Go ahead.
No, with Boganowski, man, it's a crucial weekend for him. It's a crucial weekend as well in Oklahoma's pursuit of Grant Brix. He's going to Kansas State tomorrow. He's going to be at Oklahoma Friday. He's going to Nebraska Sunday. So this is really this is the week that's going to decide where Boganowski plays and where Brix plays. And it's really the same 2 schools in both cases, Kansas State and Oklahoma. And Nebraska is a third player for Brix, obviously, but isn't it interesting? Both those guys are going to be the same place on back-to-back days during a period that is likely going to dictate the outcome of their recruitment. So it's crunch time for this Oklahoma staff, crunch time for Bill Bedenbaugh with Brix, and definitely crunch time for Brandon Hall as they try to lock down Boganowski.
Yeah, that is interesting, by the way, that they're both going to be back-to-back at K-State and then at Oklahoma. And I think the real interesting part is going to be the dichotomy of how they perceive both visits, right? One may have really loved their K-State visit. The other one probably not so much. The other one may really love their Oklahoma visit. The other one, it was okay, or Maybe they both like Oklahoma. Maybe they both like K-State and not so much Oklahoma and not so much K-State. I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see their responses after that. I mean, I guess, do you think Bricks announces before the season, his football season begins?
Yes, I do. I think it's done before then.
Okay. Do you think that Boganowski does? Because I do. I think Bogo.
Yes, I also do.
Like, this is their worst case scenario already, according to his dad. Like, this situation they're in was like DEFCON 1, which DEFCON 1 is way worse than DEFCON 5, by the way. It really is. Like, that's military. That's just my military. But that would, when I talked to his dad, I think it was probably a week or so, 2 ago, he was like, yeah, the worst case scenario is us not knowing by like the second week of August. And they're rolling right into that worst case scenario. And he does not want that to take place. Originally, the plan was to sit down this past month when they went to the lake or camping or fishing or whatever. And I don't think that it ended up taking place, and really dive through some things. And I think Bogo is really struggling telling people no. And that happens more than these fans and y'all think all the time. You have these relationships with these coaches, and these kids don't want to hurt people's feelings. At the end of the day, they're kids. You're dealing with 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18-year-old kids. That is the reality of the situation. They don't look it physically, but they are. They're kids. And so mentally, they're just not prepared to deal with this. This is the biggest decision that they're going to make over the next half decade of their lives. And it's a learning experience for them at the same time, and something that has created a lot of stress and a lot of burden on them. It's a blessing, but it's just stressful as well. So you kind of feel bad for them at the same time. If you were to guess, I don't know that we could really do it with Party in the Palace because there's really not a lot of uncommitted guys going. So it's kind of not fruitful to do it there. But Sooners Under the Stars, if you could guess a visitor that we know is on campus that could surprise somebody and just shock and go, you know what, I'm done, I'm going to be committed, who would that be?
I don't feel like right now that Gus Cordova would come as a shock to anybody. So
Who?
Gus Cordova.
Yeah, but I don't think that would shock. I mean, like, who do you think, like a shock? Like, holy crap, I didn't see that one coming.
Desan Brame.
Damn, you took my guy.
Desan Brame, man.
That was who I was going to say.
I feel very good about where Oklahoma stands in that race. Very good. And I know I'm not the only one either.
No. You know what I'm going to say? This sounds crazy, right? Because he's a UT legacy.
Oh, interesting. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Colton Bosick 2.0.
No, I'm kidding. I'm
setting us all up for disappointment, Brandon.
I'm kidding. I want to see your reaction. No, Jaden Woods.
Another KC dude.
Yep. And I think Oklahoma's in a very decent spot with him right now. He seems to really, really jive with Miguel Chavis. And he's within that distance where Oklahoma is the big, like, it's the alpha dog in this area. And I'm including the Kansas City, Missouri, Nebraska, all that. Like, Oklahoma's the alpha dog in this region. Everything kind of to Waco and north, right? They're the alpha dog. And so to players like a Jaden Woods, if Oklahoma goes out and wins the first 3 or 4 games, he shows up to one of those games, I could really see a commitment taking place. And I'm not saying that it's going to happen or anything. That would be my surprise guy that would just shut it down, because he definitely has a chance to be a 5-star when it's all said and done. Like, he's that good. And by the way, Kansas City's been producing some dudes on the D line, particularly defensive end, over the last few years. This is Jaden Woods, PJ Adebawore, now Williams Swinneri. You got Kamari Moore on the inside. It's almost like Oklahoma's little SEC area to go get some defensive linemen. And it's not a place you think of first when it comes to defensive line, is it? But yet they produce.
They're going to keep producing.
And mind you, the state of Oklahoma in 2025 at defensive end and defensive line, not bad. Not bad. CJ Nixon, Alex Shieldknight. Who's the other one I'm missing here? Is there another one, or is that just two?
Nixon.
I'm thinking, yeah, it's two, because I'm thinking of Okoye in 24.
Gotcha.
But they could, you close out on those three, and you're building yourself really nice depth for years to come. What about Malik Hawkins? Like, how long do you think he draws this thing out?
Not that long. Like, here's the thing about Malik is he and his family want him to be able to go through the process and enjoy it of his own accord, separate from his brother. But that said, like, I know for a fact, like, Malik knows where he wants to be, right? And it's pretty blatantly obvious, right? That family is very, very pro OU, all in with the Sooners. The brothers themselves are very, very tight. They're a year apart, so they grew up together. Man, they're close as can be. And so as long as Mike signs with Oklahoma, and unless Jeff Lebby goes and takes a head coaching job somewhere, even then, like, I still think there's a good chance Mike would stick with Oklahoma. But like, and barring any funny business, as long as Mike signs with Oklahoma, it is an overwhelmingly safe bet that Malik ends up a Sooner as well.
Yeah. I guess we need to talk about Eli Bowen too on that front. You know what I mean? Like, people ask
Like
about
when?
him on. Say what?
Like when that happens?
Well, I don't know. I think they're still trying to decide. He's trying to decide when he wants to shut things down. But I think it's just a 2-team race. So you in Texas. I spoke to some people around Geyer the other day, and they were like, logistically, it just makes sense to go to Oklahoma because obviously some unfortunate things have happened in that family. And Sooner Nation came, by the way, Ben Crenshaw, thank you so much. People can mock the 99 cents. We'll take it. We appreciate you. You don't have to give it. Thank you so much for doing that. But yeah, the with Eli, it's just like, obviously the Bowen family, unfortunate things have happened in the last 12 months there. But the OU fan base and Sooner Nation really stepped up there, program wise and helping. And the Sooner Nation, as far as the fans, monetarily helping with that GoFundMe and really helping with the funeral and obviously the baby costs and hospital bills and all that type of stuff, which I think really stood out to that family at the end of the day. But on the flip side, you don't want to pressure Eli into making that decision. Be like, you're going to follow your brother. You have to do. It's just going to be easier on us if you do that because of the baby and all that type of stuff. You can't do that. And I'm going to sit there and tell you that his mom, Amelia, is not going to do it either. Like, she's not going to do that. She's going to let Eli make his decision on his own terms and where he wants to go. Now, the hope is for a lot of people around him that it is Oklahoma, that he gets to go and play alongside his older brother once again and not as an arch rival. But it has to be on Eli's terms. You cannot make it all about because of Peyton. You've got to make it, Eli, this is what you want to do. And why do you want to do it? And that's where you see this dragging out a little more. Oklahoma could really have tried to force the issue, and it may have screwed him over by doing that. But I think Oklahoma realized that was the case. Like, you can't make Eli feel like it's a necessity for him to go to Oklahoma, or that if he doesn't do it, he's going to be letting so many people down. He has to want to do it, and he has to feel like everybody's going to back him no matter what that decision is. And I think that's where you're at. That's why he chose to go to Oklahoma this week and not take other visits, as far as we know. And I think that puts Oklahoma in a really good standing. I wouldn't be shocked if he just showed up at the party of the Palace and went, you know what, I'm done. I'm done. I'm going to be a Sooner. That's the one guy that's there that I could see that happening with. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Well, and I'd kind of like Peyton. I don't want to put a clock on Eli's commitment, kind of like I don't really want to put a clock on David Stone's commitment, because it's impossible to tell. But in the end, it's kind of like the Malik Hawkins conversation. Like, if Eli went anywhere else, it would be a surprise, just because of how tight he and his brother are, and how important it is to both of them that they play together.
But on the flip side, on the Mozelu side, who, Zena's going to be at the party in the Palace, it's different. They're 2 years apart, because Zeta was 2022, right? So they're 2 years apart, not a year apart, 2 years. And I know that's, splitting hairs, if you will, when it comes to the decisions and the separation between the two brothers as far as years go, or classification. But it makes a big difference, because by the time Zena, if he was to choose Texas, got to Texas, Zeta could only be there for one more year and be gone. That's a big difference, other than 3 years or 2 years, excuse me. Eli gets to Oklahoma. Peyton, they play together for 2 years, just like they did in high school. Or they did in 3 years, but you get what I'm saying. It just is a lot longer. And mind you, Zena and Zeta's sister goes to Houston. So it's not like they don't have family members scattered out everywhere already. I think that's something. Wow, Kyler. Thank you so much. And also thank you to John Crenshaw. I think we have a Crenshaw brother battle. I don't know if they're related, but well, it seems like they're battling. Kane Bowman with $4.99. Thank you so much. Kyler Eckberg just says Boomer. And by the way, thank you so much, Kyler. If you're in Tulsa and you need repairs on your homes, hit him up. Kyler, go ahead and give it in the give your name of your business down there in the chat, and I'll pimp it out for you, if you will. Christopher Martin, $5. Thank you so much. What's your thoughts on Zena Mosely, Parker?
I just look, I know Oklahoma has enough options at the edge, because I'll be honest with you. Let's say they somehow strike out on Danny Okoye and on Zena. You know who they'll get at that point? They'll get CJ Jackson, who's a national top 200 player. And really, I know that's a recruitment that not a lot of folks have paid attention to, just because you're so hyper focused on the 8 primary targets on the power line, as it were. But if there's a spot for CJ Jackson at Oklahoma, he's going to go to Oklahoma. Don't get that twisted.
Yeah.
Gosh, we're running up against. And
by the way, real quick, just to help Kyler, he brought it up. Kyler's is his business. If you're in Tulsa area, it's Sooner Home Service and Constructions. They work on a lot of stuff, fencing, your exterior, interior. They'll fix it all. Hit him up. Sooner Home Service and Construction. Wow, we've got even more, dude. We got another scale 1 to 10 from Josh Crenshaw. Thank you so much for the $4.99. And we got to be done after this. We really appreciate you guys, but we got to be done. We've been rocking this thing for a little bit. Scale of 1 to 10, how confident are we about the unproven receiver core? Who steps up and fills Mim's void outside of Farouk's? Thanks, guys. Thank you, Josh Crenshaw. I will say that Andrew Anthony will be one outside of Jalil Farouk. I also think that Nick Anderson has a chance to be really special if he can stay healthy. And I am a big Gavin Freeman guy. Something about him just screams like he's Drake Stoops, but has a ton more speed than Drake. Like so much more speed. Like he's got that I'm going to burn you type speed. And he can make plays in the open field. Super explosive, super twitchy. And I think Jaquace Petaway is going to be a shocker for a lot of people freshman year. What do you think, Parker?
I've been on the Petaway train a long, long time, and that hasn't changed. I think he's going to play a lot, going to have a big role in this offense because he's just such a complete wideout, and that speed is going to help set him apart from some of his peers at that position. I'm big on Nick Anderson. He's just got to stay healthy. And then if I had to throw a third guy in the mix, I think even though Drake Stoops is going to be your primary slot guy, there's going to be a lot of snaps and a lot of touches for Gavin Freeman too. So those would be the three that I'm absolute highest on, but three guys that I expect to make noise at receiver for Oklahoma this year.
Did you say Andrew Anthony as well?
No, I didn't.
Okay. I thought maybe you did. Man, the sour, like I love the taste of this orange, but it's like got my tongue a little numb because it's got that sour, like the pop that orange has because it's natural.
Yeah.
So, all right, the final one by Kane Bowman, 199. Thank you so much. What are y'all's thoughts on Whit Edwards? Look, he came to the OU camp. He's slenderly built, like I've got broad shoulders. Like very broad shoulders. Parker has broad shoulders. His is just more narrow. Yeah. And I don't know that he can hold the weight necessary to do what he's going to be asked to do at a tight end or defensive end spot or even an edge rusher spot. And you look at a guy like Zena Mozalu, who is also slender, but he's got really wide shoulders. So there's kind of a structure to put more muscle on and more weight. And that's what Edwards' biggest drawback and what has held Oklahoma away from offering him, because he was brought in and there was high hopes. He also struggled a little bit at the camp. Wouldn't you agree, Parker? He struggled a little bit at
it was not camp. A great camp. Yeah.
Yeah. And it shocked me that took place too, because every 7-on-7 that I've been to watching him has been really, really special and really, really good. So I don't think at the end of the day he's going to get an Oklahoma offer, but I do think he is a G5, kind of a Big 12 type player, and I think he'll get those as his senior year rolls along. All right, that's going to do it for this version of the OU Insider Under the Visor YouTube Live, brought to you by Olipop. If you're not
Olipop,
yep.
Subscribe to OU Insider, drink Olipop. Those are two things you absolutely must do if you are to enjoy life to its fullest.
Or if you just like good laughs, because there are some good laughs on OU Insider because our fans are quite witty. Look, you get OU Insider free till September 2nd right now. So we're going to have a bunch of notes. Party in the Palace, Sooners Under the Stars, fall camp kicking off next week. We have OU Media Day next week. Let's go. Football season's kicking off. And you should be on OU Insider. Give us a try. If you don't like us, come September 2nd, you can tell us to go away and cancel. But give us a try. I think you're going to really enjoy it. There's thousands and thousands and thousands, literally, of OU fans on there that are diehards just like you. If you're not subscribed to OU Insider YouTube, hit it. We already just hit 10,000. Thanks to you guys. Thank you guys so much. And if you are on the podcast, give us 5 stars. Give us a good rating. Let us know what you think. It's on Apple, iTunes, all that type of stuff. It's been an amazing, amazing, amazing reception. Already, we've been in the top 200 every podcast that we've dropped. Thanks to you guys. Almost got in the top 50 about a week ago, and that's all you guys. Literally, our growth on OU Insider, our growth on the podcast, our growth here, everything that you guys have done is you all. not us, you all. We do this because of you. Without you all, we are nothing. And so we want to thank you guys so very much for being there. We can't wait for the season because we're going to be doing giveaways. Just like we did at our predecessors spot, we're going to do giveaways. We're going to give away home game tickets to you guys. We're going to give away Amazon gift cards. We're going to give away Best Buy gift cards. We're going to give away Thunder tickets, concert tickets, all kinds of stuff to try to show our appreciation to you all on OU Insider VIP. But you got to be signed up and do that right now. You can do it for free till September 2nd. If you go to ouinsider.com, sign up, get a screen name, and go type in PATP 23, which stands for Party at the Palace 23. PATP 23 is the promo code. All right, Parker. That is going to do it for this version of the OU Insider Under the Visor YouTube Live. For Parker Thune, for Spencer Forsythe on the board, my name is Brandon Drum. You guys have a blessed night.